I was a little bit worried before that I had a piece of paper to read off, but after that I'm so glad I do, because there is no way I would have remembered anything after that. Thank you, Alina, for the most beautiful speech I've ever heard. I love you so much. Oh, okay. Whew. I can't believe that we are actually here today, and it's not just because of the journey that Martin and I have gone through. It's mainly because I didn't actually think I would see the light at the end of the wedding planning tunnel. It was incredibly painful. As anyone who's been married will tell you.
It was a breeze.
Yeah.
For you, maybe?
That's right. But now that we're here, the advice that I've been given all along suddenly makes so much sense. As long as Martin turns up, everything will be fine. And who cares if your bridesmaids aren't wearing shoes? No one will notice. They were all right. Thanks, Jen. Fortunately though, Martin did turn up and the girls did find shoes. But all that I've noticed today is the happiness and the excitement that I've felt being surrounded by all of our closest family and friends. I know that so many of you have travelled considerable distances to be here today, so I just wanted to say a big thank you to all of you for heading up here to the Central Coast, these beautiful girls, to be here with us. Now Martin will be taking care of most of the thank yous a little bit later, but there are a few of you that I want to single out for my own praise. Firstly, my mum and dad. Two people that I think have been more excited and nervous about this wedding than Martin and I. You have been my biggest fans throughout my entire life, and knowing that I constantly had that love, trust and support, no matter the choices I made, is certainly something I'm very thankful for. Particularly in these last few weeks, in the lead up to the wedding, you guys have helped enormously, and I really thank you. To my new father and mother-in-law, Brenton and Wendy. I pinch myself often when I think about how lucky I am to not only have found an incredible man, but one that comes with an amazing family to boot. The thought of sharing many more Christmases and birthdays with you all, with Andy and Cara, Diane, Audrey and all the cousins, it's something that just excites me so much, and I'm so grateful to have been welcomed into your family with such open arms. Brenton and Wendy, your generosity and kindness throughout the time we have been together, but particularly with this wedding, has just been absolutely overwhelming, and I just wanted to thank you and tell you how grateful I am. I'm also so happy to have here today my brother Nathan, right here, good-looking man. My sisters Cherie and Kate, as well as their families. Thank you to little Maddie and Abby as well for being the most beautiful flower girls. And of course in my heart is my brother Daniel, whose memory gives me reason to smile every day, especially on a day like today. Now, moving on to my beautiful bridesmaids, who you'll notice are wearing shoes. And they are looking absolutely smoking. I just want to give them a round of applause. I'm so proud to have these girls. These girls, Alina, Jen and Bo, they have stood by me through so much. And I'm so honoured that today it was no different and I had you standing there beside me again. Many of you may not know that Bo has played quite a pivotal role in mine and Martin's relationship. In fact, we probably wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Bo. Many years ago, Martin, knowing that Bo was a good friend of mine, asked Bo to show me some photos of him on Facebook. Just to see if I might be interested.
Hey, she's saying you.
Well, fortunately, Bo was able to convince me to see past the excessive number of photos posted like this. And reassured me that he was actually a really sweet guy. And I let her arrange some drinks for us all. really that's where it's all began, and we have Bo to thank for that. Jen, I often think to myself how lucky I am that mine and Jen's lives our paths crossed 7 years ago. Jen brings this incredible life into my life. I'm a happier person when she's around, and I'm especially happy today considering she's flown all the way from Vancouver to be here. Even with the distance between us, and despite Jen facing some of the toughest times in her life this past year, she has been nothing but the most incredible friend to me. I want to thank you for that. I don't know how I would have got through so many times, especially through our times travelling in London, Vancouver, Egypt, wherever we were. You were a friend that just stood beside me. I can always count on you. Please make sure you all take a tin of M&Ms home tonight, courtesy of Jen. She has smuggled them over numerous borders from the US. That's right, all the way over there. Thank you.
I already put some in my bag. Can you me too?
US. Yes, they're definitely M&Ms. US to Canada, all the way here to Australia. So we don't want to see any of those left tonight.
Okay.
Now, my beautiful maid of honour, Alina, I don't feel this title does her justice, nor will this speech after this incredible one that she just gave. She's such a wonderful friend to me. If I could create the perfect friend from scratch, you know, 1 part kindness, 1 part fun, 10 parts putting up with blubbering phone calls from me at 2 a.m, Alina is it. She's been my rock through everything, and I honestly don't know what I would have done without her. Over 10 years of friendship, it seems short in comparison to how long I know that we'll be in each other's lives for. And during that time, I can only hope that I can be the same genuine, trusted, loyal friend that you have been to me all along. Now, talking of being in one another's lives for a long time, this brings me to my husband. Yeah. I'm just so overwhelmed. That's right. I think it's just crazy to look back on the journey that we've travelled together. Neither of us, and I'm sure many of you here, including Alina, never thought we'd end up here today. But now that we are, it's strange to think that we could have ended up anywhere else. Martin and I have a long and convoluted history, most of which I won't bore you with today, but what I will say is that over this time I've learned a lot about this man. In fact, I think our relationship was one that needed the time to flourish and really get to know one another. Of course, it was not helped by the fact that until only a little over 12 months ago, we had never lived in the same city, let alone country at times. Because of this, we ended up travelling around the world, meeting one another in different cities, and these string of meetings soon became known as the World Tour. In between trips, we would stay in touch, working out when and where we'd see each other next. But before we had officially started dating, Martin and I had been to New York, Washington, Adelaide, Sydney, Melbourne, London. It all sounds quite glamorous. I mean, while it sounded incredibly romantic, it was not at all conducive to building a relationship. Martin was a tough one to crack. He was quite guarded. He kept his cards close to his chest. But in these times together, I would see glimpses of this incredibly kind, romantic and gentle man. Over time, Martin has uncovered more and more of himself to me, and it's this beautiful heart of his that's the reason that I married him today. Oh. Yay! One of the many other reasons I love this man is because of his incredible mind. You can leave. I'm constantly learning from him, learning about him. our relationship so interesting over the years, and in recent times even more. Importantly, I now know how to pronounce the letter H. He still hasn't quite got me on string and structured Australia. Apparently I pronounced it all like a Greek woman. Sorry about that. He's truly one of the most intelligent people I've ever met. And in him, I not only have a lover, a best friend, but a mentor too. Thank you, Martin, for being all these things to me. Thank you for trying so hard every day to make me happy. And thank you for loving me and accepting me just the way I am. I know together we will continue to change and at the same time continue learning more and more about and from one another. This is what will make our marriage so rich in experience, in feelings and in growth. I can't wait to build a family of our own and of course continue on our famous world tour. First class.